When the world puts tariffs on you, it feels like the weight of the earth is pressing down. But that weight is exactly what shapes greatness. Pressure has never been the end of a story. It has always been the beginning. Think of any person who built strength. They didn't do it by lifting feathers. They did it by lifting heavy iron. In the same way, when nations are burdened with heavy restrictions, heavy taxes, and unfair walls put up by others, they are being given the very resistance that will make them unshakable. Listen, you cannot expect growth without struggle. You cannot expect respect without proving that you can carry the load that others say is impossible. Tariffs are not the chains that hold you down. They are the weights that train you to rise stronger than before. When challenges come, the natural reaction is to complain, to feel it is unfair, to say the world is against you. But complaining does nothing. It only wastes energy that could be used to fight back. The truth is, nobody cares about your excuses. The world respects results, not reasons. When you feel the burden, when you see others trying to block your way, take that as fuel. Every single ounce of pressure can either crush you or build you, and the choice is always yours. If you give up, you are crushed. If you push through, you grow. The very moment the world tries to test your strength is the moment you have the chance to show just how powerful you really are. Imagine a mountain standing in front of you. Some will sit at the bottom of that mountain, complaining that it is too tall, too steep, too impossible to climb. But champions, leaders, and true fighters never sit. They start climbing. Maybe the first steps are slow, maybe the climb feels endless, but every single step makes them stronger. By the time they reach the top, they are not just at the peak, they are transformed. Tariffs, like mountains, look huge at first. But step-by-step determination breaks them down into something small. What once seemed impossible becomes proof of your endurance, your discipline, and your ability to rise. Pressure is a gift even though it doesn't feel like one. Without it, we remain soft, weak, unprepared. It is only through the test of fire that steel is forged. Nations are no different. If everything were easy, if trade were smooth and open without obstacles, there would be no need for innovation. No drive to become self-reliant, no hunger to reach higher levels of excellence. Tariffs force you to look inside, to depend on your own resources, to push your industries, your workers, and your creativity to new limits. What seems like punishment from outside becomes transformation from inside. That is the secret of growth. Use the resistance as fuel, not as a cage. And when the world sees you refusing to break, when they watch you turning every act of pressure into a display of strength, their respect changes. What was meant to weaken you makes you unstoppable. What was supposed to discourage you becomes the very reason you rise. That is how power is earned, not through comfort, not through begging for relief, but through showing that no obstacle can bend your spirit. You cannot control what others do, but you can always control your response. That choice determines everything. So when the world repays you with tariffs, don't see it as betrayal. See it as training. When they put more weight on your shoulders, carry it and grow. When they build walls around you, use those walls as the very foundation to climb higher. Pressure is not the end of the road. It is the road itself. And those who accept it, those who push through it with unbreakable determination, are the ones who come out stronger, sharper, and greater than ever before. When others put walls in front of you, the first instinct might be to stop and stare at the obstacle, to feel anger or frustration, to wonder why life or the world is unfair. But stopping there means you've already lost. No wall was ever built to last forever, and no wall is stronger than the will of someone determined to break through. Playing the victim is the easiest role to take, but it is also the weakest. The moment you see yourself as powerless, you've handed your strength to someone else. Champions, leaders, and great nations never play the victim. They refuse to stand there begging for fairness or sympathy. Instead, they rise, they push, and they create their own path. Obstacles are part of every journey. Some people believe that if life throws challenges at them, it means they are cursed or unlucky. That mindset is poison. The truth is, every obstacle is a test, every wall is a challenge, and every challenge is an opportunity. When a wall blocks your way, you have three choices. You can sit there and cry about it. You can turn around and walk away. Or you can climb over it, dig under it, break it down, or build a new path around it. The first two choices make you weaker. The last choice makes you stronger. And in every great story and every achievement worth remembering, the hero is the one who chooses to fight through, no matter how high or strong the wall appears. Victimhood attracts pity, but pity does not build power. The world might pat you on the back for being helpless, but that will not change your situation. Respect comes only to those who act, who refuse to be defined by what others do to them. Nations and people alike must adopt this mindset. If another country tries to block your trade, to weigh you down with unfair policies, don't sit at the table crying for mercy. Show them through your action that you don't need their approval to rise. Show them that your strength is not borrowed from anyone else. It comes from within, from your unity, your discipline, and your relentless will to succeed. Excuses are easy, but they rob you of progress. Many will say, it's not fair, the odds are against us, the system is rigged. Yes, maybe it is. But greatness is never built in fairness. Greatness is forged in fire. The hardest situations create the strongest results. You don't grow by asking for things to be easier. You grow by making yourself tougher. The victim mindset says, I can't because of them. The warrior mindset says, I will no matter what they do. And that difference in thought is what separates the defeated from the victorious. Think of the stories that inspire you. None of them are about people who sat down and complained until the world felt sorry for them. They are about people who fought back, who refused to stay down, who faced walls and broke them with grit and determination. The same applies to nations. If the world tries to corner you, then that is the perfect chance to show your resilience. Build industries they can't ignore, create innovations they can't compete with, strengthen your people so much that no tariff, no restriction, no barrier can slow you down. Victimhood is a trap, and once you fall into it, you start believing you are powerless, that you are not powerless. You always have the power to choose your response. You can accept the role of the victim, or you can rewrite the story and become the victor. The world may build walls, but walls don't decide who wins. Determination does. Refuse to play the victim, refuse to surrender, and you will discover that the very walls meant to stop you become the stepping stones that lead you to greatness. If tariffs come, let them come. If restrictions arrive, let them arrive. Challenges do not define your destiny. Your response does. In life and in nations, the principle is the same. You either step back in fear or you step forward with relentless drive. Competing with the world is not about comfort, it is about hunger. The moment you decide to outwork, outsmart, and outlast everyone who tries to stop you, you transform obstacles into opportunities. Barriers only exist to see how badly you want to succeed. If you truly want victory, no tariff, no wall, no resistance can hold you back. Competition is the heartbeat of growth. Without it, there is no innovation, no progress, no fire. When someone raises the stakes, when they push against you, they are not just trying to test you. They are giving you the chance to rise above them. Too many people see competition as an enemy. They look at tariffs and restrictions as punishment. But the truth is, they are fuel. They force you to get better, to sharpen your edge, to train harder than ever before. Just like a fighter doesn't improve by sparring with someone weaker. Nations do not become great without being challenged by strong opponents. Every time the world puts pressure on you, they are unknowingly helping you grow sharper, tougher, and more determined than ever. Relentless drive means refusing to stop, no matter how tired, how heavy, or how unfair the situation feels. It is the commitment to keep moving forward when everyone else expects you to fall back. Most people quit when things get hard. That is why most people never achieve greatness. But the ones who endure, the ones who refuse to quit, are the ones who change history. Nations, like individuals, must adopt this mindset. If the world tries to weaken you with tariffs, then compete with such determination that you not only survive, you thrive. Build industries that cannot be ignored. Create technologies that others must depend on. Turn the very barriers they built into platforms you use to stand taller than them. Think of every competitor you've ever faced. The ones who challenge you the most are the ones who bring out your best. Without them, you stay comfortable, and comfort kills growth. The world may believe that tariffs will break you, but if you respond with relentless drive, those tariffs become your training ground. They force you to innovate, to produce more efficiently, to discover strengths you didn't even know you had. What once felt like an attack transforms into your advantage, because while others expect you to collapse, you are silently becoming stronger. There is no victory without sacrifice. You cannot demand success and also wish for an easy road. Success demands sweat, discipline, and a willingness to endure pain. Tariffs will make the road harder, but harder roads build stronger travelers. Let every challenge remind you of your mission. Let every barrier remind you that greatness is never given, it is earned. If you want respect, if you want independence, if you want to stand tall in the world, then you must compete as if quitting is not an option. Relentless drive is more than just hard work. It is a mindset. It is the decision to keep going even when everything in you screams to stop. It is waking up with the fire to prove that nothing can break you. When others block your way, you build a new way. When others try to slow you, you accelerate. When they push you down, you rise up stronger. That is the spirit of true competition, not just to win, but to dominate through persistence, through innovation, and through unshakable willpower. So if tariffs come, don't see them as chains. See them as a challenge. Compete with relentless drive until the world realizes that every wall they built only made you more powerful. The fight is not to survive. It is to thrive, to outlast, to prove beyond doubt that nothing can stop the fire of a nation or a person who refuses to quit. One person can lift a weight, but a united nation can move mountains. Strength is not only about muscles, weapons, or resources. It is about unity. When people stand together, shoulder to shoulder, no force on earth can break them. Division is weakness, but unity is power multiplied. History has shown time and again that great nations do not fall from external pressure. They fall when they are divided from within. That is why when challenges rise, when tariffs, restrictions, or threats are thrown against you, the most important weapon you can have is unity. A single drop of water is small, but when drops come together, they form a mighty ocean that nothing can stop. The same principle applies to people. Alone, one voice may be ignored, but when millions speak with the same conviction, the world has no choice but to listen. If a nation truly wants to rise above obstacles, it must rise together. Workers, leaders, farmers, innovators, every hand and every mind must contribute to the same vision. Division creates cracks, and enemies always strike at the cracks. But unity creates a wall stronger than steel. The world may try to corner you with tariffs, believing that pressure will cause you to fight among yourselves, to blame one another, to collapse from the inside. But if you refuse that trap and instead stand united, the opposite happens. Every attack meant to weaken you instead strengthens the bond among your people. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to us?" you say, "What can we do together to overcome?" That shift in mindset is the difference between defeat and triumph. Unity is not about ignoring differences. It is about choosing a greater purpose. People may come from different backgrounds, speak different languages, or hold different beliefs. But when the survival and growth of the nation are at stake, all differences must be set aside. It is like a body. Your arms, legs, and heart are not the same, but they work together for the same goal. To live, to grow, to move forward. A nation must do the same. Every citizen, regardless of position, must see themselves as part of one body moving in one direction. Strength through unity also creates respect. When the world sees a divided nation, it sees weakness, and weakness invites exploitation. But when the world sees a people united, unshaken by pressure, it hesitates. Because unity is unpredictable, unstoppable, and unbreakable. Others may impose tariffs, but they cannot impose defeat on a nation that stands together. Tariffs can hurt industries, they can slow trade, but they cannot crush the spirit of a people who refuse to turn against each other. Think of the greatest victories in history. They were never won by one person alone. They were won when thousands, millions stood together and refused to fall. Unity is the hidden strength that multiplies every effort. One person's idea becomes a company. One company becomes an industry. One industry becomes a movement. And when that movement is supported by millions of hearts and hands, it transforms into a force that the world cannot deny. Tariffs and restrictions may try to isolate you, but unity will always turn isolation into independence. It forces creativity, it forces self-reliance, and it proves that together there is no limit to what can be built. When unity becomes the answer to pressure, then every challenge becomes the fuel for a greater rise. So remember this, no matter how high the wall, no matter how heavy the weight, unity can break it. One may fail, but together, failure is not an option. Strength does not come from standing alone, it comes from standing as one. And when a nation does that, no tariff, no obstacle, no challenge can ever bring it down. Tariffs, barriers, obstacles, these may look like immovable walls, but they are never permanent. They rise like storms, loud and frightening, yet storms always pass. What remains is not the memory of the storm, but the strength of those who endured it. Limits are not final. They are illusions placed in front of you to see if you believe them. The real test is whether you choose to surrender to those limits or rise beyond them. Every challenge that looks like the end is, in truth, the beginning of a transformation. Greatness is not measured by how smooth the journey is. It is measured by how you rise when the road becomes impossible. When a nation faces restrictions, it is easy to think the world is closing in. But the truth is, every wall hides a door, every roadblock hides a lesson, and every hardship hides a new opportunity. Those who rise beyond limits are the ones who refuse to see struggle as punishment. Instead, they see it as preparation. Just like the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire, nations and people become unbreakable when they pass through the hardest trials. If you rise once, you gain strength. If you rise again, you gain power. And if you keep rising, no matter how many times you are pushed down, you become unstoppable. Limits are only real if you accept them. Too often people say, "This is as far as we can go. This is too much. We can't do it." That is surrender disguised as realism. But history does not remember those who accepted limits. History remembers those who shattered them. Airplanes were once impossible. Space travel was once unthinkable. Independence, prosperity, progress, all of these were once labeled impossible. Yet they happened because someone refused to believe the limit. That same principle applies now. Tariffs, restrictions, barriers, these are not the end of the story. They are simply the test before the breakthrough. Rising beyond limits is not about pretending challenges don't exist. It is about looking them in the eye and saying, "You will not stop me." Nations must embrace this mindset. If others close their doors, build your own. If others block your goods, create products so powerful that they cannot ignore you. If others try to choke your progress, use that pressure as the spark that ignites self-reliance and innovation. Every time the world says, "You cannot," answer with, "Watch me." That is how victory is born, not by avoiding limits, but by proving that limits cannot contain you. And when you rise beyond limits, the world takes notice. They may not admit it, but they respect it. Power is not given. It is earned by those who refuse to bend. The nations that stand tall are not the ones who faced no struggle. They are the ones who refuse to break under struggle. Brown. Every tariff becomes a story of resilience. Every barrier becomes a lesson in innovation. Every challenge becomes the foundation of a future that is stronger, freer, and greater than before. Rising beyond limits is eternal. Challenges come and go. Tariffs will not last forever. Barriers will fall. But the spirit of resilience, the fire to rise, the discipline to keep going, that is what lasts. That is what defines greatness. It is not about avoiding the storm. It is about becoming the storm. It is not about running from the wall. It is about breaking through it. It is not about begging for an easier road. It is about becoming stronger for the hard road. So when limits are placed before you, do not see them as the end. See them as the call to rise higher. Rise beyond them with vision, with discipline, with unity, and with unshakable will. Because no tariff, no obstacle, no challenge is greater than the fire of a nation or a person who has decided that nothing will stop them.